There we go. We are live. Real talk with the real deal. We are starting March Movie Madness. Let me just pull up the... There we go. March Movie Madness. In my opinion, the greatest sporting event known to man today is March Madness. And so to honor that, because we didn't get it last year, because 2020 sucked, we're going to do it this year with movies. And today we have Harry Potter, and to keep it simple, 8 movies. We're not including Fantastic Beasts, but I wanted to show a little love to those. But first, let's introduce my guest today. Next to me is Kevin Poss. Kevin, how you doing?
Doing well, man. Thanks for having me on. Love the Harry Potter series, books and movies alike. I even like the Fantastic Beasts series. I know it's not beloved as much in the community, but I'm down to talk about these any day of the week. So bring it on.
Oh, I am too. That's why I chose this to be the first one. And below us is Chris Diaz. Chris, how are you doing?
Doing good. Happy to be talking about my favorite franchise growing up as a child, Harry Potter. I grew up with all of them, and I love almost every one of them. Fantastic Beasts is hit and miss, and then I wanted to people like Cursed Child. I got to see Ashley and Broadway, Harry Potter Cursed Child, and that was fun. So I'm a big Harry Potter fan, from book to movie to stage show, all of them put together.
Me too. This used to be my favorite franchise. It's since been overtaken by another series that we'll actually be doing a tournament for later on in the month. The MCU. It's probably my favorite now. But Harry Potter still is a very close second. It's still very near and dear to my heart. I grew up on these books. I grew up on the movies. The second movie I saw in theaters with like 50 of my classmates. We went on a field trip. Like it was like right after school, and I thought it was the coolest thing that I was getting to go to a movie theater without my parents. I got to sit alone with my friends, because as a 12-year-old that didn't happen very often for me.
I went to the midnight. Cool. I went to the midnight showing for the last 3 Harry Potter movie out of the Harry Potter series, not Fantastic Beasts related.
I think the second one was actually the only one I saw in theaters. I wasn't a big... I mean, I live in a pretty small town, so theaters aren't really big here. But so that was the only one I saw because it was a school thing, and that's why my parents let me go. Well, let's talk Fantastic Beasts, because I think both movies, the first one more than the second one, are pretty decent movies. What do you guys think about
them? The thing with Fantastic Beasts, and I haven't gone back to rewatch them and much of the other Harry Potter movies. I've seen the first one on TV every now and then. The second one I haven't seen since theater. I don't like the first Fantastic Beasts. I think the stuff that I love Dan Fogler and Jacob. I think he's one of my favorite characters in the Harry Potter universe. I love Colin Farrell as Percival Grave. I think he was a great villain. I really wish they had kept him on for Grindelwald and not gone with Johnny Depp. But I thought Eddie Redmayne was really good. I thought a lot of the casting was really good. I wasn't the biggest fan of the New York, Muggle aspect that much with John Voight and all of that. But I think for the first movie alone, it was fun, it was entertaining. It had really good emotional gut punch where they could sacrifice the memory of the reservoir at the end to house. And the ending was great. And then with the second one, I think they dropped the ball a lot. There's stuff as a Harry Potter book fan that really did not sit well with me, especially with who Credence was, which doesn't make sense in the mythology of Harry Potter itself with Albert and his brother. Where did Credence come from? It really too many questions. I think Jude Law was a perfect Dumbledore. I think him and Richard Harris are tied for my favorite interpretation Dumbledore. I thought Johnny Depp was good for what he was given, but I feel like I've seen better villain performance from him, especially in Sweeney Todd and other stuff. That I wish he brought that into the Menacing Grindelwald. And then I think the plot is a mess. I think everything doesn't make sense. I think Joey Kravitz was really good at Leaders with Strange. I wish they didn't kill her off. Another reason I have a problem with some of these films when they kill off the best characters in the movie. And then including stuff I hated. I think I need to go back and rewatch Kind of Winter to get a second opinion, but I did not have a great experience watching the first time that I haven't gone back to bother to rewatch it.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people need to give it another chance. I think the stuff with Catherine Waterston's character, Queenie, is very intriguing, actually. Seeing her kind of waver from good to bad, you don't see a lot of that. So that's interesting. I think Depp I think he might have felt a little overwhelmed with that role, but there's not a lot to go off of in the books or anything. So he kind of had to make it his own, which he didn't really pull off. So hopefully we'll get a better version of that. But yeah, I enjoy him. I think they did the best with the beast that they could do. David Yates, I think he's one of the better. He puts together some of the better action sequences for sure.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the first one. I think the introduction to all the beasts was really cool to see. Eddie Redmayne, I think Eddie Redmayne is underrated as an actor. I don't think he gets talked about enough. I have yet to see him in a bad performance, but then again, I haven't seen a lot of Eddie Redmayne movies. But what I've seen, I really enjoy. I think he's a fantastic actor and does fantastic as Newt.
Yeah, I only seen one bad Eddie Redmayne movie, and that was Jupiter Ascending.
I don't know. I don't think I've seen that, so I'll try to steer clear of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really enjoy. I love Johnny Depp. He's my second favorite actor, like, ever. So maybe I'm a little biased towards the second film for that reason, but I still really enjoyed it. I thought him as Grindelwald was really good. I didn't hate the movie as much as other people do. I think there's problems with it, absolutely, but I still was entertained. I wish Johnny Depp was still Grindelwald, but I'm trying to keep an open mind going into the next one because I do think Mads Mikkelsen is a fantastic actor as well, and I think he'll bring something to the role that will be good.
I always say with Mads Mikkelsen, if people want to see him do a great film besides Casino Royale, go watch all 3 seasons of Hannibal. He's a big menacing in different way that just gives you chill down your spine.
Yeah, so what do you guys think about that, by the way? Johnny Depp. I know it's a kind of older news, but I'm still curious to hear your thoughts on it.
I think it's a tricky situation because I believe Johnny Depp. I do. But I understand we want about it went because until we get the whole truth of it, it's kind of like, do we want bad publicity or should we stand? I think Johnny Depp is an amazing actor. I think that he did have a great career for him. Like, one about him maybe down the line would bring him back for something else. So I think it's so hard to talk about this.
It's just a terrible situation anyway overall for the whole Wizarding world because that going on, the J.K. Rowling situation going on. There's no right answer.
There's no right answer. There's no what like it. Until we know more, it's harder for an opinion. I believe Johnny Depp. I do, which is why I would never support Amber Heard ever again in any movie. But It's high criminal justice major because I study criminal justice to look at this at both ways. Like,
Yeah. It's it sucks. I would like to have seen him carry out, see what he could have made of that character. Maybe he was building it to something else. He had something in mind, but unfortunately, we'll never see that. So we just got to look for the best and what Mads will bring to the screen. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think
I
that would
would-
be awesome. He does awesome in pretty much everything. So
yeah, I mean, part of me still wish we still had got Colin Farrell can be answered playing Grindelwald, but
I think that would have been weird and hard to explain and just muddled things up a little bit more. But yeah, that's just
because he did such a good job pretending to be somebody else, which turned out to be Grindelwald in the end. But my favorite line always would be, even though it Percival giving it, but from Grindelwald, like, why is Dumbledore so fascinated with you when he's interrogating Newt in the ministry? Like, because when you realize who he is later, that chill of that line, like. And I'm more looking forward to see what Jude does with Dumbledore, because I think he is, without that one, the best. I much like Michael Gambon in the Harry Potter series. I think Jude Law is the second best Dumbledore, besides with your hair. Like,
I don't know if I'm quite there yet. I did like Jude Law, but I'd like to see more before I call him. I mean, he's top 3.
Yeah. The reason why I say that, when we get to the Harry Potter film, why I have some mixed opinion about how Michael Gambon does Dumbledore. Yeah.
And speaking of Harry Potter, let's get into it. So the way the seating came about is the 3 of us, we made our own rankings, and then I decided to go to Rotten Tomatoes. I ranked them by the critic score, but I also ranked them by the audience score because, that's what we are. We're an audience. We just watch movies, and so the first matchup is number 1, Prisoner of Azkaban, versus our number 8, Deathly Hallows Part 1. Kevin, why don't you go ahead and start this one off?
Yeah, this is a pretty easy one for me. Prisoner of Azkaban is my number 1 favorite for sure. I love the feel of the movie, the darkness after coming off of the first 2 of Chris Columbus's first 2 movies, the darkness that Coran brings to it. It's just an amazing film. I mean, there's no part of it that I, maybe there's some issues with people want to, call out like some issues with the time and stuff. But when you're talking about Deathly Hallows, it just gets very awkward in the ending. I don't like that they split it. Period. I don't think that was necessary. It's just this is just it was a very depressing movie overall. Deathly Hallows Part 1. So Prisoner of Azkaban is one I go back to constantly, and Deathly Hallows Part 1 is one I'll watch it but I always seem to watch it in conjunction with Part 2. So I would definitely say Prisoner of Azkaban.
Okay, not surprised there, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, just the easier road, like Kevin said. Prisoner of Azkaban is without doubt is my favorite Harry Potter movie out of all of them. I love the acting. I love David Striller as Remus Lupin. I love Gary Oldman as Sirius Black. Despite the way they changed some part, but doesn't bother me as much with other the Harry Potter film. I think what they add and what they keep out, they do a good job with. I think Danny Radcliffe, one of his best acting in Prison Azkaban, unlike when he find out to choose the best. Like this, when he realized that Sirius Black was the one that lead to her parents being killed before the truth later on. I think his acting there is phenomenal. I think watching them all growing up, the laughter, like Buckby, seeing that on screen was spectacular. But definitely Hello Pop 1. I like this film a lot. I had probably one of the worst, but more awkward theater experience having that showing through it. I would tell the story when Dobby died. Right before he died, that little girl behind me go, "Oh, he dead!" Right before it happened. It's so awkward and theater. My audience was dead silent. It was such one of the more awkward theater experience ever compared to the other two Harry Potter movies I went to my next viewing for. But yeah, I still love Deathly Hollow Part 1. I see the moment I love Dobby's death scene a lot, and some of the lines they had compared to the book. I do like. I didn't mean to kill you. I mean to harm. I mean you. That line. The stuff they add, like the battle to touching money, you get Dash like here, it's chilling. Yeah, I think all the acting is great. I think the Ministry and Magic infiltration where they go in to get the lock gift from Umbridge was great. Is it depressing yet? But I think at part one is still an interesting movie with really good acting, with great moments, and really like moment that hit you. That just hit me every time I rewatch. Maybe more than what Deathly Hollow Part 2 does with some of the death off screen. I see W death hits and the realm moment in the movie. But yeah, they both great. I love Prisoner Azkaban. I had to put Prisoner Azkaban over Deathly Hollow Part 1. Despite I would defend Part 1 compared to a couple of the other Harry Potter.
Yeah, I'd go Prisoner of Azkaban too. It's I think this is when the franchise really like took off. Like I love movies 1 and 2, and we'll get to those in a little bit. But Prisoner of Azkaban, not only is it, spoiler alert, my favorite Harry Potter movie, it's one of my favorite movies, period. I think the first two were more, kid friendly, I would say. And this is when it started really getting that darker tone, and I love that. The introduction of Sirius Black into the series was amazing. Gary Oldman is a fantastic actor, and I think he was the perfect choice. Everything with Lupin and Snape, and just I think this is also the shortest of the Harry Potter movies. But I didn't like, obviously there's stuff missed from the books in every single one of these movies. And would it have been nice to have seen some of that? Yeah. But it's a movie. Like, some of the stuff in the books is just there, and it's not necessary to the plot of the movie, in my opinion. And so I was okay with it being left out. I think Prisoner of Azkaban is hands down one of my favorite fantasy, like, adventure movies. So I mean, I guess I'm kind of showing my hand here with who I think is going to win the whole thing. But yeah, that's my vote. Deathly Hallows Part 1. I'm going to have to disagree with Kevin. I think there was just so much in the book that splitting it up into two, I think, was a smart decision. But sure. I feel like maybe they put too much into Part 1, because it's just, there's a lot of just, hey Hermione, oh yeah. Hey Harry. Yeah. So like that part of it is kind of that kind of brings it down for me, but I still really enjoyed it. I think it set up the finale great. I'm not gonna say perfectly, because obviously, but watching them, and I think it also showed like movies 1 through 6 showed that Daniel Radcliffe is a decent actor, but I think honestly Part 1, like, he was on screen a lot, and I think this is when I started really becoming a fan of his. So for that reason, I really enjoy the movie. Obviously, there's not a bad Harry Potter movie.
Yeah, I mean, and it's what they add, I didn't mind. Like Hermione and Harry dance. That's such a cute moment in the movie. Like the volunteers for the locket, despite it different than book, that's a great moments. Like and adding more of a dubby in the end, I thought was brilliant. I like some of the lines they add that were different for the book, but it was great. Like, I don't mean to kill you, I don't mean to harm and maim you. I think that's brilliant line. I laugh every time I'm rewatching that movie. And they made Bellatrix more threatening. And that scene her torture Hermione, but you see description in the book, like they hear Hermione scream, but you see it like in the film, and it's probably one chilling moments in any Harry Potter movie.
Yeah, and so it's a clean sweep, 3 for 3. Prisoner of Azkaban, which also is movie 3. So sorry, Deathly Hallows Part 1, you are out. Right, this one is a bit of a surprise to me. This is the 4 versus 5 matchup. The number 4 seed Half-Blood Prince versus the number 5 seed Sorcerer's Stone. Chris, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Kick us off.
So both of them are good movie. Like, I think Half-Blood Prince is one of the more funniest of the Harry Potter film. I think a lot of the comedy does work. Yeah, probably my favorite theater experience ever with Harry Potter movie. When Harry came out of the room of requirement and Ron just go up to him and say, "Did you and Ginny do it?" Have you ever been in the theater and we just all burst into laughter and applause at that line? Like, we just lost our shit. And this was like at midnight, so for midnight screening, this was fun audience. I think, and this is to come up later with another Harry Potter film. The stuff that they cut out does bother me a lot in the film. Like, a lot of the Voldemort path, the stuff that showed that him and Harry are similar, but they went on different paths. They cut out the movie, and that kind of irritate me because it's certain key content in the book, and it shows a lot of interesting dimensions to Voldemort that you don't get. But at the same time, I think the acting is great. I think Jim Broadbent is brilliant as Horselon's Corner. I think that was perfect casting. And the backstory they add to him, I thought was brilliant addition in the movie. With the goldfish at Lily, everything, the gift he had. And I think it does show you Dan Radcliffe can do comedy. Him on the Lucky Juice potion sequence, really, real. I think one thing that kind of irritates me on rewatch, especially you don't read the book, they kind of give away that Snape on the good side in the movie compared to the book, because they had that moment with, not in the book, but the ad where Harry about to meet with Dumbledore. You hear Snape go, "Don't make me do this. Like, don't make me put in this position." Like, if you're smart, you kind of catch on to, no, he might be a good guy. Like, no, he's not that motivated. And I think Michael Gambon's best acting in Dumbledore is definitely in this film. I think the cage sequences itself, and Michael Gambon and Danny Radcliffe acting in it is really good. With Sorcerer's Stone, I love Sorcerer's Stone. I think it's a pilot, yes, but as an introduction to the Harry Potter world, it was a great introduction for anybody. Like, they catch a moment perfectly. Different children, right? They acting not the best until later on. I think it's still great. I think everybody off the bat, Alan Rickman, his introduction Snape, it's classic moment in the Harry Potter film. I think Richard Harry is a perfect Dumbledore, and it's that time he only had 2 films to play a Dumbledore before he died. I really love to see him carry on. I think Maggie Smith, everybody is great. The stuff they cut out don't bother me. The stuff they add in is great. Like, they both great films. I do leave it up to you guys. I might go with Sorcerer's Stone that become nostalgia and that what being reintroduced to the Harry Potter world through this film for a book fan was such a great time back as a kid in 2001, I believe. So I get Sorcerer's Stone. It's tough.
Sorcerer's Stone. All right. Yeah, this one is tough.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Yeah, this is a pretty tough one. I mean, I look at Philosopher's Stone, Sorcerer's Stone as, you know, we're looking at this from a movie standpoint, a movie point of view, and you know, it's definitely fallen down my list as I've grown older. It used to be high up there because, you know, the introduction is just so cheerful and just so joyous, and you know, you're getting introduced to all this new stuff, the train station and all these new things. But once you've watched it 20 times, it's like, all right, I already know what's going to happen. You know, and it's kind of like you start seeing how the child actors are just that. They're child actors, and they're being, you know, I watched a documentary how they're being pushed to their limits, you know, being acting for so many hours and then being carted off and having to do like schoolwork for so many hours, and you know, Daniel Radcliffe, not necessarily his best performance. I think probably his worst performance. Just little things, you start to notice the little things, and so that's why it slowly falls down my list. I do think it's a kids film. Like I said, I don't ranking these films to me is just like ranking Star Wars. Like, it's like even from best to worst, there's such a small modicum of difference. But when you move into Half-Blood Prince, I love the dark stuff. I love, you know, Jim Broadbent, like Chris said, he's awesome. I love that Snape finally got to take his place in the Defense Against the Dark Arts class. And
But you don't get to see in a film that kind of pissed me off.
yeah, that sucks. I agree, but like I said, like, you know, just knowing that he finally got to have that position that he obviously longed for a long time. That was, you know, but he kept getting kind of pushed to the side every year. A new person they were bringing in from outside, and it was Tom Felton's best performance, bar none. If you go back and watch
100%.
Draco Malfoy almost redeemed in this movie. So for this one, for me, I prefer episode 5.
Yeah.
Oh man, does that mean it's tied?
Yeah, it's a tough. Emma Watson is really good in this movie. About like the scene where she breaks down with the bird. I think is such a great moment for Hermione.
I love both these movies. I agree with a lot of what both of you are saying. I do think upon rewatch, Sorcerer's Stone does go down the list a little bit. Whereas Half-Blood Prince, I think, like Chris said, the comedy just hits in this one. And yeah, I was thinking the entire time, like, Tom Felton, this is his best performance in the series. So Sorcerer's Stone holds a lot of nostalgia. It's, you know, it's the first one. I was 11 years old when it first came out, and when I saw it, so
Same.
it's hard to vote against it for that reason. But at the same time, now that I'm older and I've seen a lot more movies, it's hard to say. It's not my worst Harry Potter movie. I did not put this one at the bottom, but it was close. But I do have to go with Half-Blood Prince. I think it's just the better movie. I think it's better acted, obviously, you know, because the kids have had time to grow and they've got more experience, and because of Tom Felton's performance alone. Actually, I'm giving this one to the Half-Blood Prince, and it's moving on, so it will go up against.
I mean, I don't blame you guys. I think it's hard when you look at it at a Bush fan perspective when you look at Half-Blood Prince, because there's stuff that they cut out that really should have been added into the film. Voldemort Pass definitely is a big concept that should have been added in or seen on DVD, because explain a lot of the difference and similarity between him and Harry and how they were brought up and stuff.
And so now we move on to the 2 versus 7 matchup, which is the Deathly Hallows Part 2 versus Chamber of Secrets. And because of that, I feel like this is a tough decision for some, or maybe we're being thrown off. This one is an easy one for me. I think Deathly Hallows Part 2. Like, this was the perfect finale for the series. The action is great. It's almost nonstop from start to finish, and because of that, I love Voldemort in this movie. I think he's evil, man. He's so evil, and I loved it. I loved Neville. Oh my goodness, Neville in this movie. He's the MVP of this movie for me. I can't think of the actor's name off the top of my head.
It's Matthew Lewis.
Lewis, that's right. I knew it was Matthew. See, this is why I don't do movie trivia a lot. But yeah, no, I think he's fantastic. So yeah, Chamber of Secrets. It's good, but again, they're still young. I don't like Professor Lockhart that much.
Oh.
Even though Kenneth Branagh is a great actor.
Yeah.
The actor who portrayed him is good. I don't.
Well, you're not supposed to like him.
Yeah, I know, but there's characters that you don't like for the right reasons, and this doesn't fall under that for me. I just didn't care for the character the way it was portrayed. So yeah, but you know, I did like the action at the end. I do think the stuff that goes on in the chamber is pretty good, but you still see the youngness. You still see the amateurness in the acting with the kids. Whereas Deathly Hallows Part 2, like, man, the journey ends, and I was satisfied. Even though because you've read the books, you know how it's going to end. Like, still, I think the way it was done had me on the edge of my seat. Like, just watching it, like I was watching it, or knowing about it for the first time. So my vote goes to Deathly Hallows Part 2. Kevin, what about you?
Yeah, so I'll start with Chamber of Secrets. It's actually it's my 5th favorite. It's right there in the middle. I don't think it's terrible. I think the child acting got a little bit better. I think that I do like Lockhart. I think Kenneth Branagh did a great job bringing him to life. He's funny when he needs to be. He's kind of goofy, but he's definitely better than Quirrell. So that's a step up. But yeah, like you said, the action scenes are fantastic in the chamber. I like the mystery. But it's definitely more, again, the Columbus movies are more of this is more of like a kid's mystery film to me, whereas Deathly Hallows Part 2 is just a rip-roaring, adult action film. Even when you get to the Bellatrix Molly Weasley scene, I love it. Minerva using the spell, and just her little, I've always wanted to use that spell. Like, those little things like that are just, like you said, I mean, satisfying. That's the best way to put it. So I think no way Deathly Hallows Part 2 could go down in the first round. So yeah, I'll have to go with Part 2.
All right, so it moves on, but Chris, let's still get your thoughts and your vote.
Yeah. So before I get my thought, I will only give one brand. After you Deathly Hallows Part 2, you should have Fred Death, because that is a great scene in the book, and most improvement after you for cutting that out. But I love Deathly Hallows Part 2. I need to get out of the way as a book fan, because that is
Yeah.
and really good crime the film does. I understand Redmayne and Tom did death off screen in the book as well, but Fred's death is such a shocking moment in the book that I was so mad that they cut out the film. Like, and Pretty Redemption, like, God's sake, like, this is why that film need to be longer. Like, but I think Chamber of Secrets good. Like, I love the ending. I like it different from the book, yes, but I like the applause, like Harry coming back, and like it's cheesy, yes, but it's an emotional, happy moment in the film. Richard Harris, once again, he a phenomenal Dumbledore. Alan Rickman's phenomenal. Maggie Smith's phenomenal. Like it's childhood, yes, but fun. I had more fun watching Chamber of Secrets than Sorcerer's Stone. Like the stuff I would tolerate more when we watch. But definitely on part two. We had to say it. And we all agree, Alan Rickman, it might be a death film. Like his death scene and the flashback sequences, though, are the best part of part two. Like it's an emotional hard hitter. The argument that could be made any acting in Harry Potter should be nominated is probably his performance in part two, Alan Rickman, because especially in the flashback sequences, Oscar level caliber performance. I mean, always. Like, I'd cry every time that scene come out and we watch. It's fun. I love the city experience I had at midnight. I never seen it happen since then. Stood up and gave the movie a standing ovation at the very end. But especially in a 3D showing, I went to see in 3D, so this is like weird to see in a 3D showing. But we applauded, like, not my daughter, you bitch. We applauded so many moments in the film. Like, do I wish they kept Voldemort's death like it was in the book, with Harry confronting him with word after word of how he was able to figure out the Horcrux, how he felt sorry for him? Yeah, because it's such a great moment, but then again, they cut out everything that would make you feel sorry for Voldemort in Half-Blood Prince. But it's great acting. Danny Radcliffe, we've talked about this show. He is a really good actor. The scene of him walking the Forbidden Forest with the Members Stones of the Deathly Hollow, and him getting to talk to his parents with Sirius, with Redmayne, and watching Daniel Radcliffe acting from there, even after the snake flashback sequence, he's just sitting in the stairs, realizing he had to die. So how good an actor Daniel Radcliffe had came from since then. Everybody's great. Helen Bonham Carter, perfect ability to portray you just as much hate this as you do in the other film. Ralph Fiennes, perfect Voldemort. Not my favorite performance for Voldemort. We will get to that later. But everybody's still good. It's fun. It's entertaining. Yes, Deathly Hollow Part 2 is better than Chamber of Secrets. This way, I like them both a lot as a film. And I would defend Kenneth Branagh and Did Away Lockout any day.
Yeah,
He's supposed to be over the top like he in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did like the stuff with him once he lost his memory. I thought that was really funny, but up until that point, I was just like, and that's on rewatches. As a kid watching it for the first time, I was like, oh, cool, I like this. And then as I got older, I was like, maybe I don't like this as much. But definitely, Hallows Part 2 moves on. No surprise here. Which means
By
we
the
go
way,
to
the makeup. The only problem also the makeup doesn't look great on them when I'm probably watch at them as adult.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we move on to our final first round matchup, the 4 versus 5. No, the 3 versus 6, and that is number 3, Goblet of Fire, and number 6, Order of the Phoenix. I was a little surprised to see Order of the Phoenix at number 6, honestly.
I'm going to get hated by the comment.
Well, in that case, you can go first.
Alright. Let me preface it. I like all of the Harry Potter films. They're not one I hate. I'm gonna go with I think Order of the Phoenix is a good film. The problem, like I said before, the film that bothered me as a book fan, this is the one that bothered me the most as a book fan. because the stuff that they cut out, my God, I question why David Yates cut some of that stuff out. They made Harry look like a douchebag more in the film than they do in the book, especially with the Cho Chang stuff. Because when you realize that she was forced to tell the truth about the DA, it really pissed me off in a way because you hate Cho Chang in the book so damn much. And her standing up for her friend really made you hate her more. You know that the person who was forced to tell the truth and nobody would believe it, it made you feel sorry for her, and you think Harry is a douchebag because of it. I think Emil Salton. Probably my favorite casting choice between Alan Rickman at Umbridge. He was perfect at Umbridge, like from top to finish. Like from the creepy laugh to the I'm not tell lies scene. Like I think unlike Hyper Prince, I think comedy hit and miss. I think the very funny moment. I wish they kept some stuff. Like I really wish they gave Stairs more stuff to do. Like in the book, he gave a lot. And this thing I wish they kept. His death still hit me hard. It just as a Breath fan, it's also one of the shortest Harry Potter film, and you to notice they cut out a lot. So the book is the longest Harry Potter book there is. And so I try to go with, yet we can't say it. Harry, do you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? Oh,
Dumbledore said calmly.
Calmly, right.
But Goblet of Fire is it kind of doesn't have a fun movie. Like it is fun. Like the new ball scene is fun. Like it also well acted. Like you just start to see the actors become from child actor to really good actor. Rambo Watson, with Daniel Radcliffe. Also, I will say with Daniel Radcliffe, his best acting, and I think I changed my mind upon rewatch, is in Order to Phoenix. Like the whether he present not, like the little playing the net similar to Voldemort. Like, tell me, it's a great moment in Order to Phoenix. But like Goblet of Fire also, the way they introduced Voldemort and Ralph Fiennes is so good in his introduction of Voldemort. Like his dialogue, they add like they add different dialogue for Voldemort. It's still bone chilling. Like their death is still heartbreaking. Like okay, yeah, his dad finding his body is overacting upon him most from acting in a Harry Potter film. But it's still fun. I still love Goblet of Fire. And it puts mine in my face in the end of the day. I think, which I have my picked the most aspiring Harry Potter film upon rewatch. So, come at me, comment. I put a Goblet of Fire over Order of Phoenix. Come at me, because I know there's a lot of defenders of Order of Phoenix out there.
All right, Kevin.
I think it's coming from a book fan's perspective. So.
All right. So, Goblet of Fire is a fun. I mean, if you take it at its base, it's a teenage wizard who is involved in a tournament with a death-defying tournament, with dragons and all kinds of things, and you don't really need this plot with Barty Crouch and stuff like that. So I think that this could have been handled differently. I think it's a little bit. I think the scope of it is a little too big. The pacing of the movie suffers from it. I love the ideas behind it. It is one of my favorites just from the way it looks. But overall, when you look at Order of the Phoenix, it's David Yates' first movie. Nobody really knew what to expect from him coming into this franchise, and it started things off very differently with the having the starting it off like in the middle of the summer, having themes of like power, corruption, with Umbridge. I think that's great because you don't really see that throughout. It's, you give somebody like her, who you already hate just by looking at her and the way she puts herself off, and then you give her so much like political power, it almost feels like she's insurmountable. And so she's one of the better villains for sure. And Imelda Staunton is just fantastic. But yeah, this is a tough one. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of like my younger self goes for Goblet of Fire just because I like the tournament. But I do feel like Cedric is a bit of a bore. He could have been a bit more like Harry's friend, and like as he and Ron kind of grew apart, he and Cedric could have kind of come together. So
you could blame that on J.K. Rowling. She doesn't do Cedric justice in the book,
Yeah, no, I know, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to look at it from a movie perspective only. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Order of the Phoenix.
Also, I would say I love Brendan Gleeson as
I like both of these,
Red-Eye.
though. I will
Yeah.
say that. Yeah.
Red-Eye Moody. Perfect casting.
Does this mean I have to break a tie again? Why do you guys keep doing this to me?
Hey, I knew that would be my most controversial pick. So.
I love Goblet of Fire. I think it suffers from having too much in the book to portray on screen. But I think they did a good job, given those circumstances. But I think Order of the Phoenix, like the end of that movie, is just fantastic. The battle between Dumbledore and Voldemort is, oh my goodness! Like I love that. It's probably my favorite like one-on-one battle.
He throws like pure evil at him. I mean, it is awesome.
It's my favorite one-on-one battle in the entire series. I think Daniel Radcliffe in that end sequence in the Department of Mysteries. I think that's some of his best work in the entire series.
For sure.
It gets emotional with Sirius. I think so just because of the end of this movie, the entire movie is great, but the end just it ramps up to another level at the end, and I think that might be some of my favorite in the entire series is just the end of this movie. So I think because of that reason, I'm going to go Order of the Phoenix, but it's not to say I don't think Goblet of Fire is a great movie. I think it is.
Yeah.
I think Cedric's dad's reaction,
oh man,
it gets me every single time, even though I know it's coming. Every single time. Go ahead, Chris, you were going to say something.
Yeah. I like Order of the Phoenix a lot. It also affects the other movie in general afterward. It's just, like, there's some decisions David Yates made that doesn't sit well with me, like, especially with Creature. You're supposed to hate Creature, then you get that redemption in Deathly Hollow Part 1, but David Yates made some decision like, you need to hate some people and then redeem them later on. And like the trope scene bothered me as a book fan. It's just up to the point where yeah.
I love that we're getting these perspectives, by the way. Kevin's like strictly movies. I'm trying to look at this from a movie standpoint only, and Chris is like, here's like the book and the differences, and so I like that we're getting these different perspectives on.
I will agree. I wish they made Bodycraft Jr. more subtle in the movie compared to the book.
Yeah.
Like I wish they kept like him pleading his innocence and to his dad like they do in the book. And then you kind of see where Jr. is at with this perspective. And what they introduced about the never parents thing better. Like, okay, let's talk about Order of Phoenix for a moment. Them cutting out the St. Margaret sequence and like seeing Neville parents and everything in the void, I really make me mad as a fan of the book because I like to see what Neville talked about her parents and the memory requirement, but I wish they kept the scene with Neville grandma and seeing his parents that they don't remember him from the book. Because it's such an emotional moment. Oh, and they also cut out that Neville could have been the chosen one too, but also
But
they cut out the whole property explanation. With
as a movie
yeah.
fan, I agree with you about the book stuff, and I even actually rated Goblet of Fire higher because it does, as a book and movie, it does rank higher on my list.
Yeah.
But I look at it this way: if they would have taken some of that fluff, what I call fluff, and made Harry, taken away the Barty Crouch stuff and let Alistair Moody be his own character, they could, Hagrid would have still shown Harry the dragons. Neville still would have given Harry the leaf.
Yeah, I'm okay with Neville be the one than Dobby. I will say that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just little things like that I think they could have made differences in that would have made that movie a little bit better, just a little bit better. But
it's the same problem as I think where I forgot to bring up with Half-Blood Prince, and they made the same mistake here with Neville transformation from each movie, and they also got same problem with Half-Blood Prince and Other Phoenix. McGonagall's stuff get cut down, and it bothered me because you get two great moments in both where she defend Harry in front of Umbridge saying, I don't even make sure you become R, no matter what this bitch say. Yeah, and then in Half-Blood Prince, and we bring out later, they go out her defending Neville, saying, you should become a herbologist. Fuck your grandma and what she say.
Right.
I will say Dolores Umbridge is probably my most hated movie character.
She's pretty close.
Ever. And that's the character I hate for all the right reasons.
There you go.
Yeah. I think Umbridge, Meryl Streep is the second best adult casting traits in the Harry Potter film beside Alan Rickman. That was perfect casting right there.
Alright, let's start round 2. Here we go.
All right.
We've got Prisoner of Azkaban versus Half-Blood Prince.
This is so easy.
Yeah, this is pretty easy for me too. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah. I love Half-Blood Prince, and I already explained my problem with it and stuff I like. Prisoner of Azkaban is the best Harry Potter film. Yeah, to the Jane stuff, yeah. But from an acting perspective, we forgot to mention cinematography alone. There's some shot of it that just so breathtaking at point. The way they introduce the Dementors, and Thorne does a phenomenal job at showing how creepy they are. They catch it straight from the book how born Shelley they are. And everything. It's a fun movie, and I get emotional on it upon rewatch, just like I did with Part 2. Half-Blood Prince great. The stuff they added good. I forgot to add the wand when Dumbledore died, and them all holding up the wand is a great moment addition that wasn't in the book. But yeah, I had to go with Prisoner of Azkaban. Sorry, Half-Blood Prince. Yeah, can't see Voldemort passing. That could have been a different conversation in general. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm going Prisoner of Azkaban too. I already mentioned it earlier. It's my favorite Harry Potter movie, one of my favorite movies of all time. I love Half-Blood Prince. Talked about the comedy earlier, but it's Prisoner of Azkaban's my vote. Kevin?
Yeah, same here. Half-Blood Prince, it does bring that comedy flow that, the kids are hitting that sexual maturity age and making the sexual jokes. It feels like that have almost been, Hermione's got nice skin and things things that
as
feel
far
like
as skin goes.
it's as far as skin goes. It feels like they've been waiting to do that forever. And I love Half Blood Prince. Don't get me wrong, but when it comes to Prisoner of Azkaban, you can just look at scenes like the Sirius Black, Lupin, and Snape in the room with Harry and Ron and Hermione scene, and the way they don't act together, they act off of each other, and it is like it's Shakespearean. It's something that you just don't see this day and age. So yeah, you can't argue against that. Prisoner of Azkaban for sure.
Yeah, I figured that would be a clean sweep. This one might be a little bit tougher for me. We've got Deathly Hallows Part 2 versus the Order of the Phoenix. I think we know which way Chris is going to go, so we'll go ahead and let him vote first.
I am sorry, but Order of the Phoenix had shit on how great Alan Rickman is in Deathly Hallows Part 2. Like, we're talking about the death scene to the flashback and stuff they add, like Harry confronting him, like, you Dumbledore trusted you and you murdered him, like in a great home sequence where I like better than in the book, and much I love McGonagall turning out to Snape and everything. But everything from the emotional standpoint to the feeling you get at the end when Voldemort gets defeated to the epilogue, despite the makeup, to the Grindelwald Banks, how it's so fun for start to finish. The other thing it does suffer from, it should have been a much longer movie than how long it actually was. Like, it's suffering from like really bad pacing problem in terms of stuff they cut out and such. Yeah, but same problem with Deathly Hallows Part 2 with Death. I won't go on another rant about that.
Alright, so it's one for Part 2. Kevin? I have a feeling I know where you're going.
Yeah. As much as I do like Order of the Phoenix, and like you said, that battle in the Ministry is almost enough to have it win over almost any film. Part 2 is visually arresting. I mean, and it not only did this movie, it tied up a franchise in the best possible ways, and a franchise that it could have easily, I feel like, lost down the rails, I guess, especially after, I feel like, the way Part 1 went. Some people don't feel that way, but Part 1 was just the setup, so I get it now. But at the time, I was like, "Oh crap, this is not going to be good." And then it turned out to be just everything I ever wanted. So, yeah, just the theatrical gut punch that it is, and it's just so amazing. Part 2.
Yeah, it's hard for me to vote against the end of Order of the Phoenix, but
yeah,
everything you just said, Deathly Hallows Part 2, it's the perfect end. Even if you're just a fan of the movies, you haven't read the books, this is the ending you want, I think. So for that reason, I go Deathly Hallows Part 2, which brings us to the finals. I don't think it's not a surprise to me. I don't think it's a surprise to either of you. And
just for my number 1 and 2.
Prisoner of Azkaban versus Deathly Hallows Part 2. And I want to start this one off because I think I'm going to surprise you guys. When it comes to the Harry Potter universe, the Wizarding World, yes, Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite Harry Potter movie. I could watch that as a standalone and be okay with it. Like, I don't need to go on to 4. I don't need to watch 2 before it. I could watch it as a standalone movie and be satisfied. When it comes to Harry Potter and like the movies as a franchise and as a whole story, I'm going Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Ooh.
Because I think it wraps it up so perfectly, and taking the books out of it, like I'm just gonna focus on the movies because we're talking about the movies. It ends it so perfectly. There are so many characters who you've been rooting for this whole time, or rooting against this whole time, and I think the characters you're rooting for, their journey ended the way you wanted it to end. The characters you were rooting against, Voldemort and the Death Eaters, they ended the way you wanted it to end, with them running away and just leaving Voldemort. And the acting. This is, I think, some of the best acting in the whole series. Matthew Lewis as Neville. Thanks, Kevin, for reminding me of his name.
Here they add so
I
much more to than the book does. Like when he confronts Voldemort, that one more.
Yeah, and just the action. I really love good action scenes and good fight scenes, and I think we got that in this movie. I think we got a perfect blend and of action and just really heartfelt moments. I think the scene between Dumbledore and Harry after Harry died. I think that was good. It was nice to see Dumbledore one more time. Kind of give that fatherly, more maybe grandfatherly talk to Harry. I think
they're pity the dead Harry. Put it there to live. And most all those rat love that line.
Yeah, and just the emotion, when Harry's walking through the castle, and he's just looking around. He's you see the Weasleys. You see all the people that have been fighting for Harry and for the Wizarding World. I think it's really good. Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite Harry Potter movie, and I know I'm contradicting myself by not picking it. But when it comes to the Harry Potter franchise, I was really satisfied with the ending, and that's why I'm going Deathly Hallows Part 2. Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, satisfaction. I know that word keeps coming up, but it's a perfect way to describe it. I'll kind of go off what you said on Part 2, and then I'll expand on Azkaban. But I feel like ultimately Azkaban to me is it was the point in the series where, okay, you have to shit or get off the pot. Like, we're gonna have to figure out which way creatively we're gonna take this, this adaptation of this series. These books are progressively longer. Each book is longer than the previous book. Some things go some different ways. How are we going to focus on them? Is it going to be dark? Is it going to be light? And I think Alfonso Cuarón, bringing him in, was brilliant. I think having, bringing in Gary Oldman and David Thewlis for a character that is looking for a father figure. I think seeing Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson and Rupert Grint come into their own as actors in this movie really solidifies it for me as my absolute favorite. Part 2 is unbelievable, and I can't state that enough. But there's nothing better than a good Prisoner of Azkaban watch for me.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at the vote.
Yeah, I also would say at least Prisoner of Azkaban doesn't do David Stewart dirty like the other movie does. Because I forgot to mention they do cut out the whole him and Tongue getting together, Tongue getting pregnant with Teddy, and him actually having to be the Godfather whole thing. What made the line of Deathly Hallows Part 2 doesn't hit hard as it does in the book, and realize that Redmayne and Tonks are dead, and Teddy, like Harry, doesn't have parents. But that is a whole issue I have with David Yates as a writer sometimes a little bit, because it's an opposite line in the movie you have it with the book. Like, But I love Prisoner of Azkaban. I love Deathly Hollow Part 2 as well. Just it's tough. Yeah, Deathly Hollow Part 2 is great. Emotional. It brings back the memory and make you root for it. Give you the best acting from anybody in a Harry Potter film with Alan Rickman. And I've been saying it over again. He's phenomenal as Snape. Like, he took a character that you hate so much and you feel so much compassion in the end when you realize his true allegiance. And make you, even to start the ad with him crying over Lily's body, but you don't even read in the book that he'd go back to the house right after Lily and James dead. That's the moment that hit you hard. And always, I love that line. I cry every time I rewatch.
Yep.
Also, great answer for Michael Gambon's death sequence as well. Like the way he delivered, Lily after all this time. Like, it's tough, but I love present. Like I say, the acting, the directing. Crone is the best director for any Harry Potter film. He took what could have been like too dark and make this really dark, but at the same time add humor, add touch of lightness, but at the same time keep the darkness to the story. Timothy Spall also really good at Peter Pettigrew, also done dirty. He should have been given the death that he got from the book instead of just being shot off by W, who know he's alive and dead at this point. But everything from the acting to the writing to the directing to the special effects. I mean, Buckbeak, the flying secret of Buckbeak is amazing to rewatch. Like, each character give a moment to shine, even Snape. His scene when he teaches defenses that are technically the only thing he has a substitute teacher to talk about werewolves. You get that in another movie. It's really good. Yeah, I had to go for the Azkaban. I also love Deathly Hollow Part 2 and the scary experience I had seeing it at midnight. I had to go with the film that I love on rewatch. I'm on rewatch all the time. And the only one I ever put on every time on TV. And on TV, I just sit down and watch it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at the result of this one. I was able to kind of get a feeling though, seeing the lists. Do you guys? What do you think was the number one in the audience score for Rotten Tomatoes?
I have a feeling it might be Deathly Hollow Part 2 more than Prisoner of Azkaban.
I would say, yeah, probably Deathly Hallows Part 2.
It was Prisoner of Azkaban, I believe. I had it pulled up. I don't have it pulled up anymore. Prisoner of Azkaban was actually third.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I can't remember. I think.
Which one is second?
Oh, I think it was. See, now I'm drawing a blank. I think it was. I think it was Order of the Phoenix, actually. But yeah, it was really shocking to me that, because in all the movie circles I've been in, talking about Harry Potter, Prisoner of Azkaban has always been, talked about as number one or number two.
I still stand by there. Which one stayed on for the rest of them?
Yeah, and a surprise to me was the.
And much of it I hated, then that mean he would have done Children of Men. Then, okay, but it still got a lot of great movies from him, a Harry Potter director.
The surprise to me was the movie that was last in the Rotten Tomatoes score, and that was Goblet of Fire.
Really?
I thought for sure it would have been Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, 74. Wow.
Yeah.
I thought Half-Blood Prince maybe.
And Prisoner of Azkaban got 86, and Part 1 got 85. So those are 2 and 3 behind Part 2. So.
Yeah. Prisoner of Azkaban. According to the three of us, anyway. is the greatest Harry Potter movie. What can I say? It's a great movie. It's a great franchise. Thank you guys both for coming on. Chris, you got anything to plug? The floor is yours.
Let's say I got a match tonight. I'm not sure when that air over in multiplex. My third team match. My team was 1-1, but against Maggie Bacala, that probably be the most toughest competitor I ever faced in the history. Right. And then we got Kevin's show tomorrow Monday. Might be on, I might not, but we're doing comedy. Go sign up on TMG. We could use a bunch of new people. We don't really love to see new people pop on. And you see me around. I got a match against Kevin coming up next week, but I'm not sure when that either.
All right, yeah. Kevin, I know.
Oh, and I will be defending my belt over Entitled Chapter, but that be a while.
Okay. Kevin, I know you got a few things going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Chris said, go ahead and sign up if you'd like to try to get in on Monday night's picture-in-picture trivia game over on TMG Trivia. We would love to have you. The topic this week will be comedies, just broad topic comedies. So if you like your comedies, go ahead and throw your name in. If it gets to be over like 5 or 6 people, I will probably do like a wheel, kind of like what Malcolm does for like the classics and stuff, because we tried to do like 10 people a couple weeks ago, and it was like 2 hours long. It was really kind of hectic. So I want to get as many people on as possible, but at the same time, get some new faces in and just have a good time. But that's a fun game. And then also TMG Trivia, we're about to start up our season 2 of TM Geek, which is our Inner Geekdom League. So go and sign up for that. The post is on the page. If you haven't already signed up, if you're already signed up, if you played last year in the tournament, your record and everything will carry over. We did just crown our champion. If you haven't seen that, the videos are uploaded, so go check them out on our YouTube page and like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you having me on, Jacob.
Thank you for coming on, and you can check me out right here every Sunday. Real Talk with the Real Deal, which is the group I'm part of over in Combat Wrestling Trivia. You can check me out over there. We have our Clash of the Combatants. And that's kind of on hold right now because our champion, Matthew Rosa, has decided to retire from all trivia, and it felt like time for him, he said, and I could see it, and I respect that guy immensely as a wrestling trivia mind. He is the GOAT. And he will be missed in Combat Wrestling Trivia as a competitor. And so now we got to crown a new champion. I'm part of a 4-way match to determine the 8th person in the gauntlet match to become the new Combat Wrestling Trivia champion. Then we'll go back into the Clash of Combatants. 2 matches every night, Monday through Friday. There's been some really great matches. So go over there and subscribe. Subscribe to the Nerd Entertainment Network. We got Real Talk every Sunday, Sinister's Movie Night with Alec Miller and Hunter Chambliss, as well as the Movie Trivia Challenge and the Nerdum Division.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of good stuff going on in the trivia community. Check it all out when you got time, if you got time. Thanks for watching, whether you've been watching live or if you're watching on the replay. Tell us, did we get it right? Did we get it wrong? And then join us next week when we're talking the MCU. WandaVision just ended. Falcon and the Winter Soldier's coming up. We're going to decide what's the best MCU property. Join us next week. Again, thank you, Chris. Thank you, Kevin, for coming on. And take it easy, guys. We'll see you next week.
How about that Doctor Strange cameo on WandaVision?
Oh, it was so good.